Another weekend out here trying to get a deer. Chance and I split up again. I am set up over a buck bed this morning. This is a spot when we were hunting last week. Dad was walking out, kind of scouting his way out. Bumped a buck, a nice buck from right down here. There's kind of a V, two big cottonwoods right here that kind of split out. So that's right where he was bedded. Made my way in here this morning to set up over it, just hoping that he comes back in here. So it's probably going to be a slow day for me unless this buck comes back in here, but it's basically the same setup I had about 100 yards that way when I killed my buck a few years back. So we're hoping it kind of works the same way. Chances clear back over that way, set up on the buck that he saw last weekend as well, hoping it comes back through there, another buck of some sort comes back through there. There's been good deer movement, good deer traffic over that way, so he'll probably have a little bit better luck seeing a little bit more than me. I'm just kind of set up on a sole buck bed here. He's kind of on buck bedding and some good deer travel, so we'll see what happens this morning. Got some rain moving in. It's good now. Hoping it just holds off a little bit. Good cool morning. Hoping for some good deer movement. Hoping for a buck to come back to this bed right over here. Well, I guess we'll start the morning interview with that. I was just sitting here. Heard something big running. She's still blowing, but anyways. A doe came right down this trail they've been using, but she was already on the run. She got straight south of me and stopped. And then she blew and took off. Obviously, what spooked her and the reason she was running through her the first time wasn't me. I don't know if she smelled me over there. I'm going to drop some milkweed and see, because the wind's supposed to be out of the northwest, which is blowing more towards where she's now, not that way, but something spooked her. She was coming from back across the river like we're planning on them doing. She just ran right down this trail. But I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm going to see which way my wind's blowing now. My wind's blowing perfect. Blowing that direction, which is opposite of what it's supposed to, but it's even. Coyote. Came right back down that trail she's on there, chasing her. That's what she was just about to say. My wind's blowing perfect that direction. She didn't know I was here or smell me. She was running before she got here, and that's why. So that might be some of the reason why the deer numbers down here aren't so good. Coyotes, their numbers might have picked up. Probably should try to shoot one of them. I guess I will in the future, but not exactly the way we wanted to start. news and bad news. As you saw, he came back. Came back this morning in the dark. I mean, right away. At dark, he was bedded down before it was light enough to film or shoot. The weatherman called for a northwest wind. Means it should be blowing back that way. Perfect. Then threading the needle here a little bit. Blowing this way though. Should have been good. The wind is actually swirling down in here more than you would like, and it bit us, and may have screwed up an opportunity here. It was blowing straight that way, so it's supposed to be going this way. Went straight this way. I could see him in the dark in my binos, sniffing the air, and I knew he was going to get me because about 2 seconds before that I let some milkweed go and it went that way, and I was not happy about that. I was just crossing my fingers then that he was going to come in over here first. Coming straight from over there, like I said, right at dark, and I knew that wind was bad. I was just crossing my fingers and praying that we'd get gusts of wind that kept it going that way, and he got enough of me and stood up and took about 3 or 4 pounds back into there, and then he stopped, and I haven't heard anything since. The wind kicked over and screwed us up. I was sitting about 20 yards, not even 20 yards, 10 yards that way yesterday. And that wind wouldn't have worked either. He'd have smelled me right away this morning, and he'd been looking at me, probably picked me off. Perfect setup here in the tree saddle, hiding behind this tree. People give us crap all the time about sitting in tree saddles and moving and all that, but what saved me besides my wind was the fact that this tree was in front of me all morning instead of sitting on the opposite side, him looking right up at me. But the wind killed us, so kicking myself because that was probably an opportunity. Made it back home here, and what's the saying? Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and it definitely doesn't count when you're hunting buck bedding. We were this close this morning. As you saw, he came in, bedded down in the dark, and then the wind was swirling, and should never trust the weather forecast because the wind was not going the direction it was supposed to. We'll be back down in there, probably give another shot just because he keeps coming back, and hopefully we didn't bump him too much. So real close this morning. It was kind of cool to see him come back into that bed. It's the same buck that Dad bumped out of there about a week ago. But hunting buck bedding is the ticket. Why we ever get away from doing that, I don't know. Sometimes we just don't have a good idea of where the buck bedding is. But when you have it, it is definitely the tactic because they are coming back there. Bump and dumps work. Would have worked today had the wind not swirled on us. But we think there's a pretty good possibility that he's probably coming back and bedding in there again. So we're going to head back down there probably next weekend or at least the weekend after that and try it again.